Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Word. It's great to be with you again. Throughout this month of March, we have been continuing through a series on mentoring. And I had the honor of beginning this month focusing on the biblical foundations of mentoring. And then the next week, Russell Smelly talked about the importance of having mentors in our life. And he gave a great lineup of all who had impacted his life. And just last week, Suzette McCormick talked about some of the mentors in her life and how they inspired her to be a mentor to so many others. Today, I want to narrow our focus on what it means to be a mentor in the late years of our life. Now, those of you who are young or middle adults, do not hit the pause button or leave. The words I share with you today are the words I wish I had heard in my younger years and in my middle adult years. This Wednesday Word is for young, middle, and senior adults. And even if you're a teenager watching this is good for you too. As I begin this time, I want to give full credit to a mentor of mine. Dr. Steve Harper was a professor of mine at Asbury Theological Seminary. I loved his theological depth and his pastor's heart. And in January, he wrote a blog entry that caught my eye. It was entitled, "At the Gate." The blog was short and to the point, but oh so profound. And first, the biblical foundation on why at the gate is significant. Well, the word gate is used throughout Scripture to talk about buildings, grounds, and cities. Gates kept people and animals safe. Gates were the weakest point in a city's wall, often the object of an enemy's attack. Markets were held at the gate, and the main items sold there gave it its name to the gate. For example, one of the gates into Jerusalem is the Sheep's Gate. The sheep gate. Gates were entrances. Gates were exits. And for the sake of this discussion, we will be discussing the city gate. The city gate in biblical times is where people sought to do legal business, conversation, bargaining, and news sharing. They were where the prophets cried out and kings judged. And there's often an inner and outer gate. Today you will notice I'm sitting in the entrance of the church. This entrance is our outer gate. And we have a lobby here, and then there's an inner gate, the doors that swing into the sanctuary. I thought about going to find a really cool gate somewhere in Santa Barbara, but it's also a windy day, and there's always car noise and different things. So I thought, what better place to sit than at the gate to our church home that we love so much. So as I said, there was an inner and an outer gate. And in the space between those gates, sometimes with a corridor, with guard rooms, or it even had a more spacious courtyard, this area was called In the Gates. This space often served as a combination of a town hall, a court, a busy corner, a marketplace, or a park bench. The prophet Amos said, "Seek good and not evil, that you may live, and so the Lord, the God of heavenly forces, will be with you, just as you have said." He was referring to those who afflict the righteous, who take a bribe and they push aside the needy that are also sitting in the gate. In 2 Samuel, we read about the time King David was sitting between the two gates, anxiously waiting news concerning the rebellion of his son Absalom. A messenger comes to him and lets him know the battle has been won, but sadly David's son has been killed. And in chapter 18 it says this, "The king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept." David's troops were discouraged, but then the king got up, and after some encouragement from his general, it says this, "So the king went and sat down in the city gate. All the troops were told that the king was sitting in the gate, so they came before the king. The gate is the place. What does this mean for us? The city gate is often where the elders of the community sat. The wisdom was transmitted here. Living as an elder, what does that mean? Of course, this takes many shapes. My mentor, Dr. Harper, says we have to work it out with reverence and experimentation. Reverence is how we respond to the fact that every stage of life, let me repeat that, every stage of life is sacred. Dr. Harper said abundant living does not have an expiration date. We respect the aging process and we learn more about it. This is something we should be doing at every stage of life. Experimentation is being willing to learn through trial and error. This means we are willing to stay teachable, and this leads us to the importance of sitting at the gate. What does it mean to be at the gate? Well, elders do not disappear. Those of you who are elders, remember this. Those of you about to be elders, remember this. Those of you who are young adults, remember this. Elders can remain at the place where people come and go, even though they are not coming and going as they once did. Stay engaged. You have a role. It's a different one. But using Hebrews chapter 12 helps us to remember that we may no longer be running in the race, a different kind of race, but we are in the stadium as a great cloud of witnesses. While we live, we are still very much a part of a race, a different one where we are cheering more for those who are actively running a race in a different way. But what does it mean to be sitting? Elder posture involves observation and conversation. Stop, look, listen. Eugene Peterson, author, scholar, talks about the ministry of small talk. Not insignificant, but strategic. And as Dr. Harper says, always pastoral. This involves interaction arising from attentiveness. It involves responding more than initiating. It involves encouragement. It involves being a cheerleader. When we do this well, we serve one of the primary purposes of this life stage, and that is to provide wisdom. Author Joan Chittister calls this the gift of years. At some point in this talk, you may have heard me make the shift to using the word we. At age 62, I am now a young elder. When I arrived here to serve this church at age 25, I could not have imagined all the years ahead and the gift of years in between to love and to be loved in this church family. These words I shared today have I hope that they have inspired you to look ahead and pray for how God would help you to finish well, whether you are 75 or 45 or 25. The gate for me is now becoming clearer. And one day I will look forward to taking my seat there with many of you. Senior adults, sit well. May God give you a listening ear, more wisdom, and words of encouragement. You are still a gift to this world and our church family. You are relevant. Don't minimize God's continued call in your life. Middle adults, Stay strong in the race. The journey is a marathon, and those who are sitting at the gate cheer for you. Tap into their wisdom. Hear their stories. Believe their encouragement. Keep learning and growing. Some days you may think you are old. You are not old. You are older, and there is still plenty of life ahead. Young adults, first of all, thanks for sticking around to hear this. May God give you the confidence in these years of rapid change and transition into adulthood. Don't take for granted the wisdom and experience of those who are going before you. If you reach out for advice or accountability, they will respond. You can learn from them as they will undoubtedly learn from you. It's been great to be with you today. As you travel through the years of your life, may the peace of God dwell richly in your life. Psalm 100 verse 4 says, "Enter his gates with thanks. Enter his courtyards with praise. Thank him. Bless his name." I am grateful to walk with you, and I'll meet you at the gate.
This has been Wednesday Word with the Free Methodist Church of Santa Barbara. We hope that you will join us for worship this week. Our home church video will be posted at 7 o'clock a.m. on our YouTube channel, and we will be meeting for worship under the tent in our upper parking lot at 9:30 a.m. We hope to see you there.